Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Ljs Garage. I am sitting in a 2021 BMW X3M, and if you're unfamiliar with what that is, think of the M3 and then you turn it into an SUV. So the reason I'm considering one of these is because I have a Grand Cherokee and I have an M3. So it would make sense to combine them both and get one awesome performance SUV. So most importantly, we'll talk about power. This has got an inline-six turbocharged S58 motor. As far as transmission goes, you're gonna get a ZF 8-speed automatic transmission. You do have paddle shifters, and so you can manually take advantage of all 473 horsepower and 440 foot-pounds of torque. This thing will do 0 to 60 in just about 3.3 seconds. So it's faster than my M3 and has a lot more space. So it's really practical for everyday living, and so it kind of makes a lot of sense why family people who have an M3 trade this in and go for one of these. I do like the X5 as well, so later on I'm gonna try to find one of the X5Ms and see what those are all about, but for now the X3M it's a pretty sweet SUV, or sports activity vehicle as BMW calls it. I don't really know what a SAV is, but that's what they're going with, and we're gonna call it that. Yeah. All right, so right off the bat, I'll tell you this thing is comfortable. Some people coming from a more luxury-focused version of this, the regular X3 or the X5, might say that it's a little firm, a little stiff, but I'm going over some rough Illinois roads right now, and they're fine. But I'm also coming from an M3. So to me, this suspension is just fine. I have no issues, no complaints, but I will say if you're not used to sportier rides, you're gonna feel the terrain a little bit more than usual. On the steering wheel, you've got these M1, M2 buttons, so you can pre-program the drive modes however you want. So you get that nice little benefit of having, you know, a little bit more luxury or a lot more sporty. You can choose, you customize. And I'll walk you guys through the menus on this in just a little bit. But this is in regular, normal driving mode. It handles pretty well. A little wet outside, so I'm not going to push it too hard. Getting ready to get on this on-ramp. We'll hit M1 mode. Now we're in full sport. This thing is powerful. Very powerful. So if you're not familiar with fast SUVs and you're looking for something a little more tame, I'll say stay away from this. But if you want something that's super fun, that little tiny pull right there was amazing. It got my heart racing. Might have farted a little bit there too. But this thing, it's a dream. I can honestly see why it sells the way that it does. And performance SUVs nowadays, that's kind of the rage. That's all the hype. You've got the Trackhawks, you've got the X5Ms, you've got the Cayenne Turbos. There's all different SUVs out there. Even Ferrari now has a performance SUV coming out. So with all that being said, it kind of makes sense that BMW caught on to this wave, the trend, and they're really, really delivering with this. It's got just the right amount of luxury for me and plenty of tech. The technology's great. I'm about to enjoy the Harman Kardon sound system and see what that's all about, but I already know it's fantastic. So spoiler alert there. My one thing though is I wonder if a car is able, or an SUV is able to deliver the handling that the M3 can. And realistically on paper you would say no. Just because of the center of gravity, an SUV sitting a little bit taller doesn't quite have that same comfort feel when you're getting into the corners. So I think that that's one of the trade-offs that I don't know if I'm willing to make, but I also could be very wrong. I've seen people take these on the track. It sounds great though. The exhaust is nice and crisp. It's not over the top, and you know, M2 mode is in the comfort setting, so I'll put that in comfort setting right now and kind of just cruise, be a normal person. It's nice, relaxed. You can see behind me I've got this huge panoramic sunroof slash moonroof, and it's just a great place to be. Even with the little bit of the damp roads, I don't feel like I'm hurting for grip because this is all-wheel drive, and this has the ability to send all the power to the rear wheel, so you can do 100% rear wheel drive if this needs it, and it does all the math for you, so you don't have to figure out when to send power where or what to do. I think the size of this though is great for most people. You know, it fits normal size adults back there without any problem. But if you have larger kids, Shrek size, you might want to have something like the X5. Just a word of advice there. But dogs, smaller people, they can fit back there just fine. And as far as driving experience goes, hopefully I get a little bit more road here. I'm gonna take this back and we'll give you guys a little tour, walk around, show you some of the things that this has to offer. So if you are on the market like I am for one of these, then you know if this is the right thing for you. The heads-up display on this is crisp as well, just like the whole driving experience. I got a little tiny bit of an opening here. I can... yeah, this thing is no slouch. Not at all. I could live with this. Okay. Direct steering too, so honestly, I feel like my concerns about this being able to handle a track are not really valid. I don't think BMW would, why did I say that weird? I don't think BMW would design this and sell this to people who are wanting to replace their M3 and not have this be capable on the track. So I feel like, you know, I'm gonna have to watch some videos and see how people do with this on the track, but straight line performance, it has that. Back to trade it in. See you guys later. Alright, so this is the outside of the X3M. It's good looking. You've got 21-inch wheels, so it gives it a nice little curb appeal, nice presence. But overall, it's a good size. There's no complaints that I have with it. I think that the size is honestly perfect, and I'm just thinking in the future, for people with larger kids or bigger families, this might not be the ideal size, but it is great for me coming from an M3. So it is pretty solid. And then on the back end, you're gonna have pretty nice taillights. And shout out to Newbold BMW over here in O'Fallon, Illinois for letting me take this one out. Like I said, if the numbers are right, this might be something that I might trade in for. We'll see what happens. But yeah, overall, this thing is stunning. This is a good looking SUV, or SAV. Ugh. Bam, bam, bam. And this is what you're working with cargo space. Good, plenty of room, and just a little bit more than the M3, I will say that. You've got your nice little tonneau cover, so you can make sure all your items are locked up and safe and no one's gonna peek in. Not that they can really do much peeking there. Under this, you're gonna have a little spare tire and plenty of storage there. We'll go ahead and hop in the back seat. And then if you're ready to close this up, just push that button there, and there she goes. But man, you got the little spoiler on the back, and just looks great with the red and black accents. I mean, this is a really awesome SUV. I really can't say that there's anything that I personally would change. I think looks are subjective, but most people will agree that this is one of the best looking SUVs on the market. All right, and so this is the back seat. This is a 2-row SUV, so if you do want 3 rows, you're gonna have to go for the X5 or the X7. But as I'm sitting back here, these are legs, not hot dogs, but I've got plenty of room. These seats set for me, I'm 5'9", and there's plenty of room back there. Look up, you're gonna see your moonroof, sunroof combo. I love that. You're gonna have ambient lighting, which I'll show you guys all the different settings you have on that. You do have a little tri-zone climate control back here, so your rear passengers have heated seats, as well as they can set the temperature to whatever they like. So luxury, check. All right, and this is what everything looks like from the driver's perspective. You're gonna have a nice display right there. This is all touchscreen, so that's plenty nice. You're gonna have a digital display right up front, which is customizable. You're gonna have a heads-up display, which you guys should be able to see just a little bit right there. So pretty nice to have. You're gonna have the nice red M1, M2 buttons, and otherwise navigating through all of this is pretty easy. Lighting controls on the left, door lock controls there, and BMW did move these from here or if you haven't been in any of the newer BMWs, the lock unlock is here instead of here. So what happens now is if you press this little button, that's going to bring up all your safeties. So you can go to configure. So you'll see that you have pedestrian warning, you have frontal collision avoidance, you have lane departure warning, and blind spot monitoring. So those are all the safety features that you do get, and you can turn them all on, or you can turn them all off, or customize. So if you don't like all the tech, you don't have to use it. So on this button itself, if you press this BC, which is board control, you can click through, and then on the right hand side you'll see that it's going through some different information. So you got your mileage, your miles per gallon, which this gets 14 city and about 19 highway, so not the best. And then right here you're going to have your dual climate control. This is nice because if you've been in any of these, this is all touchscreen, so you can have little pre-programmed shortcuts at the top, and if you hover over it, you can set these to do whatever you want. So that's a little candy feature there. Climate control settings, nothing to dive into. You're going to have a wireless charging pad there, cup holders, your shifter, and then these are going to be where you can adjust your different drive modes. So you can have like if you click this, it'll have efficient, sport plus, and then sport. And then suspension, you can set into efficient, sport, comfort, etc. And then same thing with your steering. You have active exhaust, which is on right now. And then you're gonna have all these different camera modes. So if you click that, this camera is nice and crisp. So if you put it in reverse, you have everything that you need. And you can even click on 3-dimensional view. And in 3-dimensional view, you can see what everything looks like real time. And bam, so it makes parking pretty easy. Unfortunately, it's not red like the car, but you can see outside, you know, there's all the stuff and whatnot going on. Car wash view, if you need to pull into a car wash, you don't have to worry about people guiding you wrong. It's all right there. So plenty of different options. It does have automatic parking as well, so if you do want it to find a parking spot and help you get into the spot, you can do that. So pretty much everything in here is easy to use. So displays is where things get a little bit more fun. You're going to have your instrument panel, so you can customize exactly how you want everything there. You can even have little warnings on the heads-up display if you're speeding, which we don't speed around here. You can change this to have maps in the middle. You can do speed in the middle, however you want. There's a lot of controls and customizing that you can do in here, so I won't dive into all that. Driver assistance, we already covered. Exterior lighting, you can control all that. Unfortunately, this isn't like Audi's, so it doesn't have any light shows or anything there. But normal general settings, all pretty boring. Gesture control, I'll talk about that a little bit. So there's a little camera and it watches to see what you do. And if you want, let's say, ooh, there's a lot of gestures, so I'm not gonna dive into all that, but I'll show you a simple one so far. So let's say you go back to your media, and you're here listening to music and you want to turn it up, you can do that. If you want to turn it down, I'm going a little too fast, there you go. And you can skip songs, do everything that you need to do from there. So pretty handy. And if you're confused and you don't want to touch any of this stuff, you can use this little controller right here, and this does everything. So you can control everything really easy, honestly. Pretty fancy. And when you want to type in destinations, you can type on this little trackpad. So if I want to do A, B, C, and it'll search, or if you want, you can just talk to it. So all different options when it comes to customizing all this. Spotify, Android Auto, Apple CarPlay, it's all there. So that was a lot, but everything you need to know in a nutshell. And look at that red stop-start button, I love it. This red color, gorgeous. And that's all I got for you guys on this one. Stay tuned to see whether or not LJ trades in the M3 for an X3M or an X5M. They're doing an appraisal right now, so we'll see how this goes.